We're a standard oil field service company. We contract directly with most of the E&P companies, and we bill them directly. They have very specific ways to bill. They usually have a gateway. We have a lot of vendors that we pay, and so the fact that we documented and then outsourced all of our process steps, basically we're buying outcomes. So it doesn't matter if it takes 4 people or 40 people to do the outcome, I buy the outcome. So when oil went from 70 to 140, I added 0 staff. As a company, I added 0 staff. When we first went with AcctTwo, we did a lot of work from the end game to the beginning, trying to set up all the processes to be a really large oil field services company. I want to make sure that we don't ever stumble. And so we actually kind of took what we thought was a very complicated business and process mapped it backwards and just said, look, we're probably not going to need all this horsepower today, but 3 years from now, 5 years from now, when we do, I don't want to have to go through this exercise again. I'd really rather just set it up from day one, and it's helped us grow quite a bit. So as we grow, we have like no growing pains. From an outsourcing perspective, in our last company, we did large transactions, and one of the key tenets was everyone had to be on the same system. And when people are on the same system, it works great. And so when we actually went to market to see kind of who to talk to, one of our guiding tenets was we're all going to be on the same software, and if I need to hit it from the office or my house to go look at an account or whether a vendor's been paid, I don't want to have to go log into something that someone else is keeping. I want all one system across the entire enterprise, and so that's actually what AcctTwo and Intacct gives us, is everybody's in the same system. I can see exactly when something was put in, and so everybody sees the same thing all the time, and I think that's why we're as efficient as we are. For us to take our entire procurement team and the production team back into AcctTwo, we actually got all those process flows just right. And then AcctTwo did a really good job of making sure the process flows went into Intacct correctly, so that my guys at our manufacturing facility actually saw the process in the software. We close the books every month, the reports are on time, the board packs look good. We've had like 0 blips in the system. So our private equity guys are actually a big proponent of outsourcing now. I think the quantifiable benefits is headcount and lack thereof, or adding it, right? So as oil went from 100 to 140, instead of us having to create an entire purchasing department, accounting department, we basically just scaled up on the software. And then as the downturn started to come, instead of having to lay a bunch of people off and then wonder who is going to do the process has just worked. And so our headcount stayed constant, and our CFO basically gets the reports out that he needs. And so to us, it's really nice that you can scale up or down in a market, and it basically, it's a capital allocation to me, right? Instead of having all that capital tied up, it's a service. It becomes an operating expense, not a capital expense. We actually use AcctTwo much more as a partner than we do a vendor. All of our accounts payable, all of our accounts receivable go straight to AcctTwo. They book them in, they put them in. It's just easy. So we don't even have an inbound AP address. We send it straight to AcctTwo, which I think is very handy. Our CFO works with AcctTwo to close the books maybe 2 days a month, and so it frees him up to let him basically be a strategic CFO instead of an operating CFO. I can tell you over the last 4 years, I don't think the system's ever been down, and no one's ever called in from the field saying I can't do this or I can't do that. It just seems to always run, which is great because it lets us do what we should do, which is go grow the business.